Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I'm sure you guys have all heard that the House and the Senate voted yesterday. They each voted to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. It was almost unanimous. There was one holdout in the House, and for BS reasons that he just made up. But anyway, now we can see very clearly which dirty trick Donald Trump is going to use to keep these files hidden. Because, as I mentioned the other day, I thought that it was going to be the Senate. I thought they were going to play the games and take the hit because they were in safer seats coming up in the midterms. Well, that appears not to be the case. It looks like it's going to be the DOJ. They're going to try to redact these files. They're going to withhold files. And as I mentioned the other day, because of certain laws that we have on the books, they don't even have to tell us that they're withholding things. So we will have no idea unless someone in the Trump administration has a backbone, has morals, has principles, and is willing to come forward and tell the American people that this is what's happening. We're hoping for a unicorn here, guys. This is where we're at. So anyway, members of Congress held a press conference yesterday. You may have seen that. There were some victims who spoke who have never before spoken out publicly. And one victim who voted for Donald Trump slammed him at that press conference. So I have that story for you. And MAGA is so pissed off at Marjorie Taylor Greene that they are accidentally admitting that Trump's only interested in himself and helping foreign governments. So that's a fun one. You guys are going to want to stick around to hear that. I also have news about a truly bombshell report, which, if you hear squeaking, by the way, in the background, that's the puppies playing with a toy. Anyway, I have news about a bombshell report that is not getting any coverage, that at least what I've seen on mainstream media. And it proves definitively that the Trump team has been trying to kill the Epstein story and protect child predators from day one, from the very start of this administration. So as Pam Bondi was out there saying, oh, I've got the files on my desk, Donald Trump had, told me, he directed me to look into this and get to the bottom of it and investigate. That is bullshit. And we have proof. Before I dive into all of these stories, though, I first want to show you a video of how Trump reacts when he's pressured about the Epstein emails. So let me turn on my sound here, and I'll play this for you guys.
Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years, but he also saw strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself, give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's
go
nothing
ahead. Go ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir, why are you acting as a...
Quiet, Mickey.
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on...
So I'm sure you guys could hear that, calling her a piggy. I think it was a BBC reporter. President of the United States lashing out, calling a female reporter piggy because he can't take the heat. I mean, what a repugnant, vile excuse for a human being he is. And what nerve that guy has calling anyone piggy. I mean, apparently there are no mirrors in the White House. Anyway, stuff like this is why some Trump voters are now turning against him. So speaking of which, here is what one Epstein survivor had to say at the press conference. Take a listen to this.
It is never one that should have divided us the way it has. In fact, it should have united us. Sexual abuse is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First, the administration said it would release everything and applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class. Show some real leadership. Show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment.
So I, of course, agree with her on everything, with the exception of this is about Donald Trump. This 100% is about him. And he knows it. He knows that he's in those files. He knows that he's done things wrong. I assume, right? It was alleged in a lawsuit that he took advantage of a 13-year-old child. So yeah, it is about him. But anyway, that, if you don't know, that was Jenna Lisa Jones. This isn't the first time she spoke out about Trump and his handling of the Epstein files. I suspect she is not the only one who's pissed because, as I mentioned, there's now evidence that the Justice Department was conducting an Epstein investigation under the Biden administration, and Pam Bondi and Donald Trump buried it as soon as they got in here. Take a look at this. So, journalist Allison Gill, she's the one who wrote this, as you can see on the screen. And she put in this article, quote, "In a brutal and revealing letter from Jamie Raskin to Pam Bondi, Epstein survivors confirmed that there was a sprawling criminal investigation into Epstein and Maxwell's uncharged co-conspirators." So in a video, Gill, this was on the Midas Touch Network, Gill explained that this investigation was being handled by the Southern District of New York. And you guys might remember Pam Bondi was saying, we got all this stuff from the Southern District of New York. We got truckloads of stuff that they brought back to us, blah, blah, blah. And she tried to make it out like they were doing something wrong or they were hiding something. No, they were investigating the co-conspirators. So as soon as Trump took office, his administration ordered that office to cease their investigation and to send all of the evidence back to DC to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. So they weren't hiding anything in New York. They were investigating in New York. And then we all know what happened after that, right? They had their minions sift through all of this stuff, and they flagged Trump's name, and they announced, oh, nope, nothing to see. There are no co-conspirators, no one to prosecute, no evidence of a trafficking ring. This was just, all about Epstein, and it was just, regular old porn that we found. We all knew they were full of shit, right? If there was no co-conspirators, why did Prince Andrew settle the lawsuit brought by Epstein victim Virginia Roberts Giuffre? Why would he do that? Why would he pay her off? I don't know many innocent men who pay off a fake accuser, right? Kind of like Pete Hegseth. Oh, yeah, well, I paid her off, but, I never did anything, and that was a fake accusation. Oh, yeah, because you always cut checks to and pay off women who you can prove are lying. So anyway, check out what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say at a press conference. MAGA was furious with her, at least some of them. And they made some pretty stunning admissions after this. So check this out.
Called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
So yeah, that caused a huge, huge uproar. You notice Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't mention Trump's name. And yet MAGA had a complete meltdown over those remarks about a traitor being someone who serves foreign governments and themselves. Trump bootlicker, an influencer who goes by the name of Gunther Eagleman online, he shared the video of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he asked this, quote, breaking, or he says, breaking, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she has a message for Trump. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for, and I gave him my loyalty for free. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. Is MTG calling Trump a traitor? I don't know, Gunther, you tell me. And then another MAGA influencer also shared the video, and this person wrote, quote, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who owes her fan base to President Trump, says she never owed him anything. And then he goes on to say, she's now using the left's language to attack our president, who she's obviously referring to. Really? Of course, Laura Loomer got in on this action. You know, there were other MAGA world people who were slamming Greene, saying, oh my God, she's calling Trump a traitor. Don't you find it funny that even without Marjorie Taylor Greene mentioning his name, they all know who she's talking about? They know she's talking about Trump because they deep down know he serves foreign countries and himself. That was the most blatant self-own, blatant just fail on their part, an admission that, yeah, the guy that we worship, the guy whose ass we have our heads shoved so squarely up, that is the guy who is self-serving and working on behalf of foreign governments, while we're over here chanting America first. And then check this out. So last night, the Daily Beast reported that the prosecutor who was assigned to investigate Democrats and their ties to Epstein, he was on the board of Apollo Global Management, the company that was founded or co-founded by one of Epstein's largest benefactors, I guess you could call him, or quote unquote clients, Leon Black. So check this out. And by clients, I mean, financial clients. We don't know for sure. We don't have any evidence that he did anything wrong. But yeah, this guy, for those who aren't familiar with him, Leon Black reportedly gave Epstein over the years something like $200 million. And he claims that it was for quote unquote tax advice, but people have pointed out Epstein had no formal training. He was not a professional in tax advice or, tax matters. And for some unknown reason, Black was just indebted to him. And also, Black once wired hundreds of thousands of dollars to 3 different women who were linked to Epstein. We don't know why. Don't know why this guy did it, but he did. So I'm sure that the guy who sat on that board, that guy's company's board, oh yeah, he's going to be really fair. He's going to do a legitimate investigation into Epstein and Democrats, right? And then just today, I wanted to point out, just before he jumped on to record this, Donald Trump, apparently, according to White House insiders, Donald Trump is gearing up to make Democrats pay for this. They're saying that, oh, you know, Donald Trump is going to use the information in these Epstein files against the Democrats. He's going to weaponize it against them. He's going to make them pay. He's going to make them wish they never did this. And, you know, their base is going to be so sorry. No, we're not. You know why? Because we want justice. We don't care if it was Democrats on every single page of the Epstein files. We don't care who it is. If they were doing inappropriate things with children, then they need to go to prison. Their asses need to be in prison. Because unlike you, MAGA, we don't worship any of them. We don't have a closet full of shirts and hats and flags and pins and all this other crap that you put all over yourself as if you're owned by a sponsor, as if you just worship at the altar of this evil piece of shit. We don't feel that way. We live in reality where there are good people and bad people, and people that do bad things should have consequences. We're not cult members. And if you can't admit that someone on your side may have done something wrong and that you want them to pay for that, guess what? You're a freaking cult member, and I'm not going to apologize for saying that. I know there are people who have come out of the MAGA movement who are like, oh, you can't say that, and, you know, you're just going to upset them, and then they're not going to want to change their minds. If you're so far gone that you can't admit that being a child predator is a red line and that that person should pay and have consequences, then you are too far gone. There is no reasoning with someone like that. There is no bringing them over to our side, and I don't want them on our side. So, yeah, we don't care. Do what you got to do, Diablo. Take them all down. That's how we feel. Any honest, principled person would agree with that. So, anyway, guys, I will keep you posted. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.